Patients, caregivers, families, and fundraisers have come together for one common purpose: to stand with the brave men battling prostate cancer during these unprecedented times. Together, we are survivors. Together, we support prostate cancer patients during COVID-19. And together, we are Zero Strong. Please join us for the Zero Prostate Cancer Run Walk celebration, coming to you virtually from Florida and Georgia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Neve Conley, Zero's Director of Events, and I'm excited to bring you our South Florida and Augusta, Georgia run walks, as well as our Run for a Life event. We've got a lot of great things planned for you today, but first, I want to thank our host sponsors, Uromedics and Augusta Urology. Coming up in a few minutes, two Zero rock stars from South Florida share their powerful stories. Susie Schlernesauer and Grace De Leon are shining bright for our Bold for Blue spotlight. And George Crum is representing Wilmington, North Carolina's Run for a Life event. He joins us later to talk about his prostate cancer journey and why fundraising is still important during this pandemic. And Jimmy Charles is here with an emotional survivor ceremony. But before we get to all that, here's a word from our premier partner, AbbVie.
I am so excited to be here today to represent AbbVie. All of us at AbbVie realize it is such a great honor to be a premier partner of the Zero Prostate Cancer Run Walk series. It is truly important to us to be a part of this series to help men battling prostate cancer and fight for an end to this disease. We're here to support the patients, survivors, caregivers, friends, and family members here today and across the series. A special thanks to Uromedics for dedicating all their time and effort to help prostate cancer patients as well. Stay Zero Strong.
Welcome back, everyone, to our Zero Virtual Run Walk Celebration Southeast Edition. It's my pleasure to introduce you all to George Crum, who's serving as our mission speaker today. George, thank you so much for being with us today. Why don't you begin by telling us a little bit about yourself and your prostate cancer journey?
Sure. It started about 12 years ago. I'm 71 years old now, and around mid-50s, I got a little more serious about my health. So I started going to the doctor for an annual physical. And of course, she did a PSA as part of that physical. And right around the second or third year I was there was a slight jump. And she said, it's nothing really to worry about, but we should have it checked out. So she referred me to a urologist who said, it's nothing to worry about, but we should probably check it out. He did a physical examination, said, just to be safe, let's do a biopsy. Unfortunately, the biopsy came back positive. And my Gleason score was rather high, so he determined that I had probably a fairly aggressive prostate cancer, and then went through the options of things to do. I chose to have the surgery robotically because that was his expertise, and had no problems with the surgery, had some post-surgical complications that really weren't anything to do with the prostate cancer, but it did extend my recovery a little bit. And then since then, I've been monitoring it, and so far, so good.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. As a prostate cancer survivor, what is something that you wish you had known when you were newly diagnosed, or what piece of advice can you give men that are currently fighting this disease?
I guess, do all the research you can, but certainly listen to your health professionals. There's obviously options for treatment and various things, and some are better than others depending on your circumstances. But I think the more information you have, the better off you are. And talk to people. Unfortunately, I think a lot of men decide they're going to hide this. It's somehow embarrassing or, something they don't want to talk about. And maybe that's just our nature. But the more information you have, I think the better decisions you can make. And I think the better the outcomes usually. The other thing is prevention. People don't talk about this, but, you really should start having the PSA test as soon as possible. I think in my case, I have 3 sons. They recommended they start around 45 years old just to establish a baseline. So if something changes, they can investigate further, because it's like most cancers, anything you find earlier is much easier to treat and cure than something you wait until it's too late.
No, absolutely. That is so true. Awareness and talking about it is such a big part about fighting this disease. Obviously, all of our events are looking a little bit different this year with having to go virtual. And while we would love to meet in person, the benefit of this virtual landscape is we get to reach a much wider audience than we would in an in-person local event. So what's one last thing you want to leave the viewers with before we go today?
Well, I think the important thing is some of the things that Zero does. One, obviously, the fundraising, because that money is important, not just for research and things, but just the support. I was lucky. I had family and friends to support me, but not every man has that choice. So anything that Zero does on that end is obviously welcome and needed. And prostate cancer doesn't stop just because we have a pandemic. So it's important to keep moving forward. And I think Zero's goal is great. If we could have zero prostate cancer, it would be wonderful. I suppose I will live to see that, but you can always hope.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today, George, and sharing your story. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
I've learned so much with my journey with Zero Cancer, with the run walks and all the survivors that I've listened to their stories and embraced. And man, they are absolute warriors, from the surgeries to the Lupron shots to the radiation, the chemotherapy, the constant checkups, the worry, the stress, the strain, all of it. Man, you guys inspire me. Your stories have inspired me in my career, and I really look up to all of you. So that has led me to write another song called We Are Warriors. Pete Salas and Bill DeLuigi helped me with this one, and Charleston likes this one, and this one's called We Are Warriors, because that's exactly what you are. This ain't a fight I picked, hit me out of the blue. It's the kind of news you never thought could ever happen to you. Try to shape your fate, make the world stand still. You thought I'd give up, but I never will. 'Cause we are warriors, we are survivors. We're still breathing, hearts still beat on this battleground. We are an army, we are a family. Brothers, sisters, never quit. You can't keep us down, 'cause we are warriors. We are warriors. Yeah, we've got hope through all the pain. We carry each other, take it day by day. We got scars on scars, we wear with pride. When you think we're out of fight, we find more inside. We are warriors, we are survivors. We're still breathing, hearts still beat on this battleground. We are an army, we are a family. Brothers, sisters, never quit. You can't keep us down, 'cause we are warriors. We are warriors. Hand in hand we walk together. Arm in arm, there's nothing we can't cover. 'Cause we are warriors, we are survivors. We're still breathing, hearts still beat on this battleground. We are an army, we are a family. Brothers, sisters, never quit. You can't keep us down, 'cause we are warriors. We are warriors. He's almost got it back there. You guys are warriors. God bless you in your journey. We're here for you. We love you.
Hello, everyone. I am Scott Meeks. I am Zero's social media director, and thank you so much for joining us for this virtual celebration, Southeastern edition. It's now my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Peter Zeman. He's with the Urology Associates of Southeastern North Carolina. Dr. Zeman, thank you so much for joining us today. We are obviously together virtually because of COVID-19. Can you talk a little bit about how this pandemic has changed the way you treat your patients since March?
Sure. So, yeah, certainly since especially March and April and into May, some of the prostate cancer has slowed down, meaning we essentially, as it isn't really necessarily a urgent or a acute need, you know, we've sort of we had to put it on hold for a few months. So we weren't screening, or we weren't checking PSAs, we weren't doing prostate biopsies because it wasn't considered necessity care. Now I think that that's sort of gone away, and we're sort of back on track, you know, as far as screening for the cancer and looking for it. I think there's been some catch up, you know, as far as because we lagged there for about 2.5 months, but I think we're starting to sort of catch back up sort of to that normal volume of looking for the cancer in patients and evaluating for it, doing biopsies and treating it. Because for that 2.5 months period of time, we weren't even doing, you know, procedures or surgeries or anything like that for cancer at that time. Prostate cancer, generally speaking, is considered a less aggressive type of cancer. So, you know, to wait a few months would be in the realm of reason you know, during the pandemic. But I think we've sort of gotten back on track on that.
It is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and we're trying to raise awareness about this disease. What is your PCAM message to men watching right now?
If you're over the age of 50, you certainly need to go see your primary doctor and get your basic checkup. And with that will come a prostate exam and a PSA. I'd say most primary cares will do that now. And men, as opposed to women, are probably more likely not to see the doctor. And if you just get in the door and establish a visit with a primary care doctor, that's something that generally will get addressed. You can always ask for that too. I mean, you can always say, hey, I'm 50. Or I'm over the age of 50, I want to come in, I want to get all the things that we would check at that age. And usually prostate cancer for most primary doctors would be on that list. So I think and then if you have family history, if you've had a father or a brother, a first degree relative with prostate cancer, you should really be checked starting at age 40. If you're African American or Hispanic, you should also start getting checked at age 40.
Got it. Well, great information. Thanks so much, Dr. Zeman, for joining us today. Thank you for staying so strong, and thank you for helping us raise awareness about this disease.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bold for Blue segment of the Zero Run Walk Virtual Celebration Southeast Edition. It's my pleasure to introduce Susie and Grace. Susie and Grace have been Bold for Blue winners year after year for our South Florida Run Walk. Susie and Grace, it's great to have you here today. You guys have been such rock stars for Zero. Please tell us a little bit about how you found Zero and what motivates you to stay involved year after year.
My brother was originally diagnosed with prostate cancer back in 2008 and did really well until 2013 when his PSA started to go back up. And at that point, he was referred to a urologist in the Uromedics practice, who is our host sponsor for the 5K. And when I went into the office with him, I happened to see the posters and the 3-ups, and you know, the office was just alive and people were really excited about this 5K because the appointment was like right before the 5K. And so I started asking some questions and they said, well, you know, why don't you put a team together and come on out? So we did the first year. Team Terry was 13 strong and raised a little bit of money, not a whole lot. But, you know, year after year, Team Terry has gotten a little bigger and a little stronger, and it will continue to do so. And my brother's prostate cancer journey ended 2 years ago in September of 2018. And my promise to him was that I would continue in his honor, and I will make a difference, even if it's just for one man.
My husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2002. He battled it until 2015, at which time he passed away. My daughters and I wanted to get involved with an organization to make the public aware, to make our community aware of prostate cancer. We had previously been involved with American Cancer Society for many years as well. We found Zero, we researched it, and we fell in love with Zero. We contacted them and did our first walk in 2016. After that, I met Susie at the walk, and we've been partners ever since. My family and I want to make sure that we make a difference, that we get out there, that we touch people, that we tell them how important it is to raise awareness for prostate cancer.
You guys do so much for the Run Walk, but you guys aren't just involved in the Run Walk. You both raise awareness and funds for prostate cancer patients year-round by coming to our annual summit here in Washington, D.C. What has that experience been like?
Our experience with the summit is always wonderful. We look forward all year long to attend, seeing everybody together, doing all that they can for the one cause is wonderful. We've met a bunch of great people. We love storming the Hill and trying to get our purpose out there and opening the eyes of our government so that they can help us keep the men healthy and aware, mainly aware of what prostate cancer is and the alternative and treatments that there are.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is knowing that one small voice can really, really make a difference when you combine those small voices into a loud shout. And that's what we've had the opportunity to do, and to see that we really do have an opportunity to affect change.
During these unprecedented times, prostate cancer patients and families still need us. Why do you guys feel like it's still important to fundraise during this unprecedented time?
Disease doesn't take a holiday. And that's one thing. Men still need to get to the doctor. They still need to have their medicine. They still need to have their treatments. And while the Run Walk series is a little different than we're used to having it, COVID may have affected our contact, but it's not going to affect our impact. And we still need to continue striving to raise funds and make a difference for one man at a time.
I can't thank you both enough for being here with me today. We truly appreciate everything you both do for prostate cancer patients and families. Are there any last words you'd like to share with anybody watching today before we go?
The front of my shirt says, "It's all good until it isn't." And I remind men every chance I get that they need to get their PSA checked. They need to know their numbers because it is a silent killer. There are usually no symptoms and it sneaks up on you. And when you finally do start to feel something, it can be far too late. And so one man at a time, we will continue trying to make a difference.
One man at a time, very important. We need to raise awareness. We need to make these guys get tested. It is so important to know and stay on top of prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is a silent killer, and you may never, ever know it until it's too late.
Well, Susie and Grace, thank you so much again. And I hope next year I'll get to be with you guys in person again. And once we get through this unprecedented time, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us today for our Southeastern virtual celebration. Thank you to our host partners, Uromedics in South Florida and Augusta Urology in Georgia. Thank you to our local partners, Amgen, Blue Earth, and Exosome DX for sponsoring all of today's races. Homelight Memorial Hospital, Janssen Oncology for their support of our South Florida race, and ABC Medical for their support of our Augusta race. Bayer, Bowling Springs, Lake Family Medicine, Dendreon, International Paper, Southport Lions Club, Urology Associates of Southeastern North Carolina, PPD, and Wilmington Health for their local support of the Run for Life event. And a big shout out to national partners Astellas, Pfizer Oncology, Bayer, Tolmar, FixingContinence.com, edcure.org, and Space or Hydrogel. And we wouldn't be here today without the support of our premier partner, AbbVie. And thanks to all of you for making today's celebration possible.
I recently worked with a patient who unfortunately had been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, also diagnosed with prostate cancer at the same time. He'd been laid off due to the pandemic, had no other income coming in. He pretty much got hit with everything at once, was very overwhelmed. I was able to educate the patient on obtaining unemployment benefits, as well as the extra unemployment benefits that are now going on during the pandemic and offered to people. He was applied for the unemployment benefits and then started receiving a weekly check with the extra benefit during the pandemic, which relieved his financial stress tremendously. So we also discussed some support programs like our Zero Mentor program that we have, as well as some local support for programs that his facility offered. These again helped the patient tremendously. He was able to speak with newly diagnosed prostate cancer patients as well as prostate cancer survivors and discuss their experiences. Being able to relieve these unexpected financial burdens for the patient, and again connecting him with peers so he's able to talk with them, really allowed the patient to kind of focus on himself again and continue healing.
Check out our virtual exhibit hall to learn more about our partners. Our partners play a crucial role in the success of the Zero Prostate Cancer Run Walk celebration. Their commitment makes direct support for men and their families possible, both in your community and across the U.S.
We may not be gathering in person this year, but bringing together Zero's South Florida and Augusta Run Walks and Wilmington's Run for a Life event for one virtual celebration has been an amazing experience. Thank you to all the Zero champions who shared their stories and posted photos with us today, and a huge shout out to everyone watching. We hope we've inspired you to stay Zero strong and help us zero out prostate cancer.
Thank you for joining us for the Zero Prostate Cancer Run Walk celebration. And a special thanks to our premier partner, AbbVie. To learn more about the Zero champions you've met today, Zero's programs, and how you can fundraise to zero out prostate cancer, head over to ZEROcancer.run. We hope to see you all healthy and in person for our 2021 Run Walk. And stay Zero strong.